Bombshell Gooners! David Ornstein has just dropped a massive update on Arsenal's Bournemouth star target. So what is Andrea Berta plotting now? Meanwhile, Real Madrid have confirmed they want to sign an Arsenal player on a permanent deal. And if it happens, it will make history for the first time in 46 years. And finally, Ben Jacobs has just revealed that Ethan Nwaneri could leave Arsenal this summer. And the brutal reason explains exactly how much this squad has evolved in just 12 months. If you want all the details on these huge stories as the transfer window continues to heat up, subscribe right now, turn on notifications, and let's get straight into it. Let's jump straight into the first story because David Ornstein, one of the most reliable journalists in world football, has just gone on the Athletics podcast with an update on Alex Scott that every Arsenal fan needs to hear clearly and accept immediately. Ornstein was as definitive as it gets. He has been discussed at Arsenal, Manchester United, and no doubt elsewhere. But it is particularly difficult because Bournemouth have no intention of selling him. That's the word coming from the club. Even if it is an astronomical offer, they are adamant that he is staying put for the first season at least under Marco Rose. Even an astronomical offer. Adamant. Staying put. From David Ornstein. When those words come from that source, you do not argue with them, and you do not spend another week of the transfer window hoping the situation changes. Bournemouth have drawn a line in the sand over Scott that is just as firm as the one they drew over Hincapie. The club are building something serious under Marco Rose, and their most important players are not for sale at any price right now. Fabrizio Romano had confirmed earlier in the summer that Arsenal opened talks with Bournemouth for Scott. And the interest has always made complete sense. The 21-year-old was one of Andoni Iraola's most important players last season, virtually ever-present, technically gifted, and already earning senior England recognition. In the midfield area, Arsenal are targeting to replace Norgard. His profile fits like a glove. But here is the honest assessment, and it is actually an encouraging one. Scott is a brilliant player with an enormous ceiling. He is not, however, the only option available to Arsenal in this position. Ayub Bouadi is available at around £60 million and has just announced himself to the entire world at the World Cup. Sandro Tonali remains on the radar. Manu Kone at £43 million represents outstanding value. Arsenal can do better than spending astronomical money on a player whose own club does not want to sell. Close this one, Berta. The next target is already waiting. Now let's talk about a story that could rewrite Arsenal's history books in the most unexpected way possible. Because according to ESPN, Real Madrid want to sign Piero Hincapie, and the timing of that interest creates one of the most extraordinary transfer scenarios this club has ever faced. Here is the context. Arsenal signed Hincapie on a season-long loan from Bayer Leverkusen last summer. The Gunners had an option to make that move permanent, and the feeling behind the scenes has always been that Arsenal would trigger it. That permanent deal is expected to be completed imminently, and the moment it is done, Real Madrid want to buy him. If both of those deals happen in the same window, Arsenal will have done something they have done only once in their entire history. In 1980, Clive Allen was signed from QPR and then included in a swap deal for Kenny Sansom just months later. That is the only time Arsenal have ever signed and sold a player in the same transfer window. Hincapie and Real Madrid would make it happen for just the second time, and the first time in 46 years. Now should Arsenal even consider it? The honest answer is no. And the reasoning is straightforward. Hincapie had a slow start to life at the Emirates, but transformed into one of Arteta's most reliable performers in the second half of the season. At times, he was even preferred over Riccardo Calafiori, a player valued at over £65 million. His versatility across left-back and centre-back is exactly the profile Arteta has repeatedly shown he values above almost everything else in a defender. Arsenal are already navigating a genuinely complicated defensive summer. Timber injured, Saliba potentially facing surgery, Ben White's future unresolved. Nathaniel Brown went to Bayern. Losing Hincapie on top of all of that would not just create a problem, it would create a crisis. Real Madrid's interest is flattering. The answer must be no. Some players are simply not for sale regardless of who comes knocking. Now let's talk about Ethan Nwaneri, because Ben Jacobs has just gone on the Latte Firm podcast and confirmed what many of us have been sensing for weeks. Nwaneri is expected to leave Arsenal this summer, and the explanation he gave is one of the most honest and revealing assessments of how dramatically this squad has evolved in just 12 months. Jacobs laid it out with surgical precision. I remember when Ethan Nwaneri signed his new deal, and there was a little bit of reticence from the player about his pathway and his minutes. When Nwaneri extended, he was told he was going to get time on the right and time through the centre. Now you look at the arrival of Noni Madueke, who can play on that right-hand side. You look at the arrival of Eberechi Eze, who was signed as a number 10. And suddenly Nwaneri is further down the pecking order. That will be even more apparent if Morgan Rogers arrives and gets opportunities through the centre. Obviously with Max Daumann coming into the first-team squad, and one of the most exciting prospects, in my opinion, in all of world football. So it will suit all parties now for Nwaneri to depart. Read that list again. Saka, Madueke, Eze, Daumann, potentially Rogers, every single one of them ahead of Nwaneri in the positions he was promised. Arsenal's squad has not just improved around him, it has transformed so completely that the pathway he was sold on his new deal simply no longer exists. That is not a failure on Nwaneri's part. That is the consequence of a club operating at a completely different level to where it was 18 months ago. The financial side of this is also critically important for Arsenal's summer plans. Jacobs confirmed Arsenal value Nwaneri at around £52 million. £52 million of pure profit, as because Nwaneri came through Hale End for free, in a window where Arsenal are trying to fund moves for Alvarez, Rogers and potentially Barcola simultaneously, that £52 million is not a small number. It is a transformative one. And Nwaneri deserves enormous respect for everything he has given this club. The excitement he generated, the records he broke, the pride he brought to every appearance in the red and white. But the next chapter of his career needs to be somewhere he plays every single week. That is not the Emirates right now. And selling him for the right fee serves both parties perfectly. Now I want to hear from you. Are you frustrated by Bournemouth's stance on Alex Scott? Or do you agree Arsenal can find better alternatives? Should Arsenal reject Real Madrid's interest in Hincapie outright? Are you sad to see Nwaneri's time at Arsenal coming to an end? And where do you think he should go next? Drop everything in the comments right now. I read every single one, and your debates are always absolutely electric. Let's build this summer together. And if you want every Arsenal update as we push to bring that Champions League trophy to the Emirates, hit that subscribe button immediately, smash it right now and turn on notifications. This window is delivering everything and we are coming for it all. Until next time, Gooners, come on you Gunners!